Hello and welcome to Wilson's World Afcon Daily, episode 19. We've just had the first two quarterfinals, Morocco beating Cameroon and Senegal beating Mali. So let's start with the host, Morocco. Really a much improved performance from them. They've been very anxious the first four games. Walid Regragui, the coach, was booed during the 1-0 win over Tanzania in the last 16. No sign of that here. Before kickoff, there was shots shown from inside the two dressing rooms. Cameroon are dancing and singing. Morocco sitting there looking really pensive. But there was no anxiety once they got on the pitch. Regragui described it as the best first half they produced since they beat Brazil in a friendly in October. They pressed really well in that first half. Cameroon couldn't really cope. For the first time in this tournament, they look the young, slightly callow side that they are. There's a lot of spoiling, a lot of feigning injury, a lot of trying to break the game up. They conceded a lot of corners, a lot of free kicks. The first goal came in the 26th minute. It was already the sixth corner that Morocco had won. Ayoub El-Kaabi won the header and Brahim Diaz nudged it in with his hip, his thigh, somewhere around there, just helped it inside the far post for his fifth goal of the tournament. Cameroon had lost Junior Chamadou, the Stoke right wing back, just before that. So one of the injuries they had was actually genuine. He'd a challenge on Mazraoui. Mazraoui fell on him. He tried to carry on, but it was clearly a problem with his knee. So he had to go off, and you do wonder whether that slightly disrupted the marking structure for Cameroon. But equally, you feel Morocco would have scored eventually anyway. They had so much pressure in that first half. And then I think what was really impressive was that in the second half, they played in a completely different way. They sat deep, they let Cameroon have more of the ball, and this Cameroon side have been very good by being direct, by being very quick, but there was no space for them to attack, and they really looked short of creative ideas. Again, it always seemed likely that a Moroccan breakaway would bring a second goal, and it did with 16 minutes to go. A free kick from the right, from one of the breaks, ending up with the feet of Ismail Saibari, who set himself up really well and drilled it just inside the right-hand post to make it 2-0. So Morocco, looking much improved, go through. Cameroon were furious with the ref, the Mauritanian referee, Dahan Beda. Now, he did the final 2 years ago in Abidjan. He's a highly rated referee, but it was slightly odd the way he was appointed. It had supposed to be the Egyptian, Omar. He'd initially been named by CAF, and then Morocco protested about that. Not entirely clear why. There is a rivalry between Morocco and Egypt, whether it's just that. CAF agreed, and they appointed Dahan Beda instead. And Cameroon, I think, felt he was giving a lot of decisions Morocco's way. Maybe. El Khanous, on a yellow card, committed quite a bad foul in the second half that he might have got a second yellow, or probably should have got a second yellow for, and was subbed for Amrabat almost immediately. But I don't really think that was the reason they lost. And David Pagou, the Cameroon coach, to his credit, refused to blame that. He just talked about the challenging circumstances, which he could have been talking about the referee. He could have been talking about the 65,000 very passionate Moroccan fans in the ground, the noise, which was incredible from start to finish. He might just have been talking about the fact he took over about a week before the tournament began. And this is a very new side who acquitted themselves very well. So I think David Pagou really has impressed in this tournament, a man who came from nowhere to take that job. But he was applauded into his press conference, and I think, not that I particularly like people being applauded in the press conference, but if you're going to applaud anybody in, he probably does deserve it. There's another refereeing oddity for Saturday's games as well. Omar Artan, the Somalian ref who's supposed to be doing Algeria against Nigeria, he was struck off because in training he was wearing boots from a non-CAF sponsor. So two referees changed at the last minute before these quarterfinals. The other game today felt a bit less of an event. Up in Tangier, 75,000 capacity, 75,000 capacity stadium. Not full, but a decent crowd in there. Mali, for the third game in a row, had a man sent off. Yves Bassouma getting a second yellow before half-time. The previous two games, Mali had managed to force a draw. This time, they were already behind. Iliman Ndiaye taking advantage of a fumble from Jiggy Jara, who of course had been the hero of that penalty shootout against Tunisia in the last 16. It was Ndiaye played a lovely ball inside the fullback for Crepin Diatta, the right back overlapping. His cross was spilled by Jara, and then Ndiaye ran on into the box and pushed it into the empty net. So that put them 1-0 up. They didn't really do much after that. They didn't need to do much. But you do wonder, I mean, we've been saying this every game, but they still don't seem quite to have a balance right in midfield. They went for that same three again in Vidrissa Papagay and Habib Diarra. And I don't know, it doesn't quite seem to have the spark, the creativity, the link up with the front three that they could do with. So that may change ahead of the semi-final. So Saturday, we've got Algeria against Nigeria in Agadir, and then Egypt against Ivory Coast in Marrakesh. So enjoy those games, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for listening.